Good day. These were the assigned questions to me. And now let's start on page 229, which focuses on literary criticism. Now let's start on page 229, which focuses on literary criticism. Number 229. Using the mythological approach, what will the critic see in the literary piece? A. Plot. B. Historical background of the piece. C. Archetypes present in the text. D. Social problems of the characters. Okay, let's answer. Majority of yours answer letter C. Yes, that's correct. Archetypes present in the text. We are focusing on mythological approach, which is generally uncovers or identifies manifestations of mythology in a literary work, whether as the creation of an original myth, as the appropriation of traditional mythological figure, story, or place, or in the form of allusions, and uses these mythological elements to aid interpretations. It has 8 mythological approaches where archetypes belong. We have formalist criticism, deconstructionist criticism, historical criticism, intertextual criticism, reader response criticism, mimetic criticism, symbolic or archetypal criticism, and psychological criticism. When we say archetypes or archetypal or mythological criticism, argues that archetypes determine the form and function of literary works, that a text meaning is shaped by cultural and psychological needs. Now let's proceed on 230, which is the philosophical discussion of literature's methods and goals. A. Literary theory. B. Literary piece. C. Literary criticism. Or D. Literary demonstration. So, let's answer. The answer is A. Literary theory. Now, we are focusing on philosophical discussion of literature, and we are going to find out which is the following best suited the term methods and goals in philosophical discussion of literature. Let's go on first on literary demonstration. Any form of communication that engages social consciousness and may move someone to action. Next is the literary criticism, the comparison, analysis, interpretation, and or evaluation of works of literature. When we say literary piece of writing or written material. And last, literary theory. It is the body of ideas and methods used in the practical reading of literature. By literary theory, we refer not to the meaning of a work of literature, but to the theories that reveal what literature can mean. Literary theory is a description of the underlying principles, one might say the tools by which we attempt to understand literature. Philosophical discussion of literature's methods and goals is the best definition of literary theory. Now, let's proceed on number 231. In The Mole by Kabawata Yasunari, the woman has the habit of touching her mole, which annoyed her husband so much that it caused them marital problem. The woman could not explain well why she does it so. What approach can be used best to understand the woman? A. Psychological. B. Cultural. C. Archetypal. Or D. Formalistic. So, let's answer. Majority of your answer is letter A, which is psychological. Psychological because upon reading, the words marital problem or the attitude of could not explain well why she does it so is best suited in the approach of psychological. When we define psychological, it is pertaining to the mind to mental phenomena as the subject matter of psychology, dealing with or affecting the mind, especially as a function of awareness, feeling, or motivation. Let's go on to number 232. What approach is concerned with the study of science? A. Hermeneutics, B. Semiotics, C. Formalistic, D. Dialogic. So, let's answer. Majority of your answer is letter B, which is semiotics. Correct. Semiotics is the best suited answer. Let's define first each of them. Hermeneutics is a study of interpretation. Traditionally, disciplines that rely on her hermeneutics include theology, especially biblical studies, jurisprudence, and medicine, as well as some of the human sciences, social sciences, and humanities. Next is the semiotics or semiology. Is the study of signs, symbols, and signification. It is the study of how meaning is created, now what it is. Next is formalistic, concerned with or characterized by rigorous adherence to recognized forms, especially in religion or art. Dialogic or dialogical approach enables analysis of direct and indirect discourse, speech genres, hesitations, irony, and a variety of other conditions that shape our understanding of dialogue and context. So, the study of science is semiotics. Let's go on to number 233. What approach can be used to study the text of the Bible? A. Hermeneutics, B. Semiotics, C. Formalistic, D. Dialogic. So, the answer is hermeneutics. From the previous question in number 232, we define each of them. So, the approach that can be used to study the text of the Bible or disciplines that rely on biblical studies is the hermeneutics. Hermeneutics is the study of interpretation. Traditionally, disciplines that rely on hermeneutics include theology, especially biblical studies, jurisprudence, and medicine, as well as some of the human sciences, social sciences, and humanities. Now, let's proceed on number 234, which focuses in mythology and folklore. In literature, allusion is a reference to a person, an event, or place in which a reader is deemed familiar. In the Sumerian epic, Gilgamesh, what biblical allusion was used? A. The Ten Commandments, B. The Great Flood, C. The Exodus, D. The Last Supper. So, let's answer. The majority of your answer is letter B, the Great Flood. Yes, it's correct. The Great Flood or the Gilgamesh flood myth is a flood myth in the epic of Gilgamesh. Many scholars believe that the flood myth was added to Tablet 11 in the standard version of the Gilgamesh epic by an author who used the flood story from the epic of Atrahasis. A short reference to the flood myth is also present in the much older Sumerian Gilgamesh poems, from which the later Babylonian versions draw much of their inspirational and subject matter. And now, let us proceed on number 235. Symbol is a representation of something beyond itself. In the Odyssey of Homer, what is the best symbolism of the wedding bed? A. Life for Telemachus, B. Love of family, C. Constancy of Odysseus and Penelope's love, D. Hope for the return of Odysseus. So, let's answer. The answer is letter C. Constancy of Odysseus and Penelope's love. The wedding bed in Book 23 symbolizes the constancy of Penelope and Odysseus' marriage. Only a single maidservant has ever seen that bed, and it's where the happy couple spends its first night in each other's arms since Odysseus' departure for Troy 20 years earlier. Now let's go on number 236. Which is the theme of Gilgamesh? A. Importance of love and friendship. B. Value of self-worth and accomplishment. C. Preference to immortality or lasting fame through performing great deeds. Or D. Significance of death. So let's answer. The correct answer is letter C. Preference to immortality or lasting fame through performing great deeds. The main themes in the epic of Gilgamesh include the meaning of life, identity and relationship, and mortality and immortality. First, we have the meaning of life. Enkidu's death forces Gilgamesh to face his own mortality. He travels the earth, hoping to unlock the secret of immortality, only to return home empty-handed. Identity and relationship. Gilgamesh's friendship with Enkidu is the central relationship in the epic and is founded in Enkidu's respect for Gilgamesh, who beats him in a fight. Both characters achieve wholeness through their bond. Next is the mortality and immortality. In his determination, Gilgamesh defies death. Ultimately, Gilgamesh fails to achieve his dream of immortality. Now, let's proceed on the last number that assigned to me, the number 237 that focuses on mythology and folklore. Even a stone can shiver and bleed was a line uttered by Anticlea, Odysseus' mother, before she drowned herself because she could no longer endure the pain of waiting for her son's return. What figure of speech best illustrates the quoted line? A. Hyperbole. B. Meiosis. C. Metonymy. D. Meiosis. So, let's answer. The majority of your answer is letter A, which is the hyperbole. So, we have the hint, the quoted line, and what figure of speech illustrate in the quoted line. Let's define each of them. Hyperbole is a figure of speech and literary device that creates heightened effect through deliberate exaggeration. Hyperbole is often a boldly overstated or exaggerated claim or statement that adds emphasis without the intention of being literally true. Meiosis is a type of cell division in sexually reproducing organism that reduces the number of chromosomes in gametes, the sex cells or egg and sperm. So let's have the metonymy is a figure of speech in which one object or idea takes the place of another with which it has a close associations. In fact, metonymy means change of name. As a literary device, it is a way of replacing an object or idea with something related to it instead of stating what is actually meant. Metonymy enables writers to express a word or thought in a different way by using a closely related word or thought. Therefore, this is a method for writers to vary their expression and produce an effect for the reader. So, the quoted line, which is even a stone can shiver and bleed, is a hyperbole kind of figure of speech. That's all. Thank you and may God bless you.